In this video, I'm gonna show you how to sound like D from Peeling Flesh. I'm gonna teach you the scream you need to use as a foundation, then give you the secret sauce that gives it that peeling flesh touch. So let's jump into creating the foundation, the bass distortion. So I've listened to their studio and live recordings, and sometimes he does things slightly differently here and there, but for the most part, to get his bass distortion, he takes his vocal cords, compresses them, and he makes them sputter together like this. This is called a fry scream. Now, what many people don't realize is that there's different types of fry screams that you can do depending on what sound you're going for or who you'd like to imitate. For example, now here's where things get interesting. To me, it sounds like D is doing an uncommon type of fry scream. And here's why. If you've been watching tutorials and DVDs for years like I have, you might have heard a common piece of advice saying that your scream should always be placed up here or above the pencil. And so what they say is that if you take a pencil or pen and put it in your mouth like this, and when you scream, you should try and project it above the pencil. But this scream that I'm about to show you actually breaks the rules of that by being felt more lower in the throat or below the pencil. So many people that think they know how to do all fry screams don't even know that this fry scream is even possible. And I call this a lower placed chest voice fry scream. And because this is an uncommon scream, this means that if you can pull this off, you're gonna turn a lot of heads. So let's jump into how to do it. So first, I want you to act like you're puking and push from your stomach, kind of like you're taking a crap. What we're looking for is a wet and gurgly sound. This right here. Now, if it sounds rumbly or crunchy or dry, then that means that it's not 100% on point. For example, if it sounds like or then we don't want to do that. We're shooting for this. And remember, this should be felt down here, not up here, but down here. Now, to get an average student to quickly unlock their scream, it doesn't take 1 or 3 different approaches. It often takes trying a variety of different approaches before we find one that works specifically for them. So if this method doesn't work easily, then you can try a bunch more approaches by clicking on the link in the description to get a free training, but back to the video. Okay, so after you get this bass distortion, now comes the fun part, shaping the tone to sound nasty. So, have you ever heard of polyphonic singing? So, with your tongue shape, if you put it in the right position, you can get different frequencies to pop out, and you can kind of hear multiple notes being sung at the same time. So as an exercise, and I promise I'll tie it back into the screams, first I want you to hold out a clean note, curl your tongue, and have the bottom of your tongue touch the roof of your mouth. And if you experiment making the curl tighter or more open, you'll be able to find a sweet spot where you hear a separate overtone come out. And that's what we want to hear more of. Okay, now if you combine that tongue shape with the distortion I showed you earlier, you should be able to get this tone. And this is called a pig squeal. Okay, so occasionally D will go for really low stuff. When this happens, I'd say to point your tongue so that it hits the roof of your mouth and drop that jaw. Also, try and say Arr. Now, if you start with the distortion and do this mouth position, then it will give you a tone like this. And on top of that, he's been very vocal about saying that he cups the mic, so that adds another layer of lowness to it. As a side note, there's lots of different stigmas that exist within the screaming community, like, oh, you should never cup the mic or you should never do inhales. My personal take is that if you like the sound that comes with it, then do it. There's no reason that you should let other people tell you what you can or can't do based off of their preferences or what isn't like cool. And as a reminder, if there's parts of this video that aren't clicking for you, that's super normal. Click the link in the description for that more in-depth training about finding the distortion, and it'll show you how to personally get coached from me if you want to take things further. What I love about Peeling Flesh is that they took slam and rap, two things that you wouldn't think that go together, and put them together to make a super sick combo. And just like how they took elements from their inspirations to make something new, I want you to do the same. Take elements of what we spoke about today, and I want to see what original music and sounds you can make. Now that you have a better idea of how to make some of these sounds, watch this video to take those sounds and cover songs with it in 30 days.